This nibble originally aired on RSBANDB Update, episode 793, World Guardian's Big Day Out. Enjoy.
Yeah, the second mystery you uncover here is more about Erifate, and it's kind of her, it's Queen of the Icyene. You uncover her journal entries, and it tells the story of how the Icyene came to Gielinor and how the Everlight was created. And I think we've covered this before in a previous one, but just a quick recap that the Icene's homeworld, New Domina, has a year-long day-night cycle, and traditionally they all stay in the light all the time because the night's really dark and dangerous and cold, and they die there. So when they came to Gielinor, when Saradomin brought them to Gielinor as part of the core of his fighting force, and it got dark at night, that's obviously not very nice for them.
That was the whole reason to build the beacon.
That was the reason to build the beacon, yeah. So Saradomin built this beacon to provide them with eternal light.
And the reason I got confused on this is, there was a series of events that didn't lead to this happening, but I was going to summarize all of the mysteries into, one paragraph. And I did the Queen of the Icyene one. And for some reason, I did that one first. So that's why I thought that was the first entry here. But nonetheless, anything else on Fallen Angels, or should we move on to Queen of the Icyene?
I just want to say, the Hallowtide lore and the whole concept of Hallowtide being such a different planet, I really, really like that about.
Yeah.
It's probably my favorite part of the lore, even though we don't learn that much about it. It is nice that they have gone to the effort of designing not just a generic fantasy planet where they come from, where, there's only slightly weird plants and animals. No, there's because that's what happens a lot of the time, right? But they came up with a concept that is not necessarily original and new, but very different and plausible. So, I really enjoyed that part and how that fed into why the site exists and what it is. So,
it's a nice example of really solid world building that informs, a nice bit of culture in this alien race.
Because you give me little hints towards this origin in the culture everywhere.
Yeah.
And that makes it feel less artificial.
So much more real.
It's also kind of something interesting about Saradominism where light is kind of the key part. And that's because, back in the day, Saradomin was good. And then obviously this is a Western fantasy story. If you're going to base that on, people, a traditionally Christian society, light is good, dark is evil. Here's a different reasoning for it and a more original reasoning for it.
Yeah. And when you put it that way, we even have the satanic archaeology dig site in terms of infernal source.
Yeah, but again, there were slightly more original twists on it.
Yeah, exactly.
On the whole thing. It was nice to see.
That's a very good way of providing commentary on the threads that everybody is familiar with in the world, I find.
I actually think it is meant, I think Saradomin and Zamorak were created very much with this sort of Western culture bias that we have, right? And in a way, this idea of Saradomin and Hallowtide is probably, sort of retconned to sort of explain that. But I think it does it really well. It feels really natural, and I think it moves it away from the bias and starts giving it its own form and shape, which is why.
And we first saw that in Worldbuilding 1, because before that everybody just assumed the generic good versus evil of Saradomin versus Zamorak, and we've learned since then that it's a lot more nuanced, and that's
I think even Worldbuilding 1 itself, it was still pretty
they tried. They were trying to branch out, I think, with that one, but everyone was still pretty stuck.
Yeah. I think it's dishonor amongst thieves.
Dishonor among thieves really solidified it. But let's resume with Queen of the Icyene, because in addition to talking about how they came to Gielinor from New Domina, that alien world, which, one more comment on that, wouldn't it be neat if we could somehow in the future go there and visit?
We have the World Gate.
I'd love to.
I think we would see that, the way that I took all of that is it kind of shows you kind of how the tradition where it comes from, as in it was a very materialistic need to be in that light. You know what I mean? Like, that's where they...
It was a matter of life and death.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, you can see where this comes from, right? Like, if it's... That's very, like, what's more material than life and death?
Yeah, we're going on the Great Pilgrimage.
If they went into the dark, they would literally freeze to death.
There you go.
Like,
oh, I'd love to go to that planet and then have like the light and day as actual gameplay mechanic, where like different strips of the world map are available at different days of the week.
You dare go into the dark and face what's in there.
Yeah. Oh,
that would be fun. That would be really fun.
You can find full episodes of RSBANDB Update right here on this YouTube channel. If you found this video useful or just enjoyed it, like and subscribe, or leave a comment.